The first time I studied Eros in my training, I was reading the Pathwork lecture, the channeled lectures. This one was on sex, love, and Eros, and the braid of sex, love, and Eros. And there's a lot to talk about there, but what stood out to me and what has really stuck with me from that was this question that someone asked about how do you maintain Eros in a long-term relationship, because Eros tends to fade. It's there at the beginning, it gives us courage, and then over time it diminishes, typically. So how do you sustain it over a longer period of time? And the answer, to remember that we never know all there is to know about another person. We can never know all there is to know about ourselves. And we know that because we've been studying ourselves, looking at ourselves, exploring ourselves for, well, me for many years and you probably for decades. And there's always more to discover. So if we can never know everything there is to know about ourselves, how could we ever think that we could know everything there is to know about somebody else? And so if we remain open to the possibility, to the reality of being able to be surprised by someone, by something, by ourselves, then we can continue to feel that Eros again and again and again. And I think it starts with feeling that in ourselves, not forgetting that, oh, there's more to discover in here. There's so much more to play with and explore and feel and be.
And one of the reasons I think that it will always be true is rooted in the fact that we live in an evolutionary universe, and we ourselves are participants in the evolution of the cosmos. And so if we and the cosmos are evolutionary, that means that even if by some miracle, and it would take a beyond possible miracle, even if I could know everything there is to know about myself, that would be incomplete knowledge tomorrow. Because tomorrow I will not be who I am today. And we can say that about our partners. We can say that about our friends, our workmates, everybody on the planet, every being on the planet. We're all engaged, whether we're aware of it or not, in this evolutionary process. So we actually cannot know, no matter how much information we gather, everything that there is to know. I was reflecting earlier today on my parents, who were in love for 72 years and married for 70, and died within a few weeks of each other, about 12 years ago. And they were constantly finding out about each other. I mean, you might think, if you didn't understand humans as evolutionary beings, you might think that they would have figured everything out by the 20th year, let's say. But that's not how they experienced it at all. And I had a front row seat as their youngest child, and they, my mother at 91, just before she died, was a very different person than she was even at 89. So how could she be fully known? How could we know each other? How could we know ourselves fully?
Right.
Because we're constantly in process. Even the most stuck human on the planet is evolving, no matter how much they resist it.
And we could say that about God.
Right.
But are you the one who told me, somebody mentioned that to me recently, the concept of an evolving God?
Yeah. When I encountered, quite a number of years ago, the notion that God's self is an evolutionary process,
right,
it opened my whole theology up. It's like, oh, so as I evolve myself, and to the extent I'm conscious about that, I'm consciously participating in the evolution of God. Well, how cool is that? How exciting is that? How surprising might that be, moment to moment? Well, for me, it's quite a thrill to take on that worldview, that cosmic view, that we are evolutionary beings participating, consciously or unconsciously, in the evolution of an evolutionary universe and an evolutionary God.